Lightfall is only around the corner. It's time to start thinking about the weapons you're going to be taking into the game, so you're ready for each and every game mode. Well, today I'm going to run through the best weapons to take into Lightfall, plus how and where to get them, so you're going to be ready when Destiny 2's new expansion releases on February the 28th. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell, and roughly 95% of viewers who watch This Week in Video Games aren't subscribed. So subscribe today and never miss an update. Without further delay, let's dive into the best weapons to get before Lightfall. Well, first up, we got the Callus Mini Tool, and this one is a legendary energy submachine gun, meaning it's got superb handling, and you can move faster with this lightweight weapon equipped. Personally, I reckon this one is a decent PvE weapon, given it can roll with incandescent, making it perfect for solar, and also stasis builds as well. For PvE, Arrowhead Break, Tactical Mag, Threat Detector and Incandescent would probably be the best roll. And to get the Callus Mini Tool, you want to open up the Opulent chests on the Derelict Leviathan. So these Opulent chests are located around the Leviathan. However, you can't open them up without an Opulent key. And you get Opulent keys by opening a loot chest on the Derelict Leviathan itself. And you can also get it from the Nightmare Containment activity as well. The Callus Mini Tool is also craftable, meaning you need to get 5 red bordered versions of the weapon, level them up to unlock the pattern. It's well worth doing that before Lightfall, so I would check out the Nightmare Containment activity, plus also the Crown of Sorrow in the helm to get those red borders before Lightfall. Well, next up we got the first exotic weapon on the list, so this one is Witherhoard. This one is an exotic kinetic grenade launcher. It's one of the best weapons for ad control, hands down, in the game. Also useful for some PvP game modes, like Iron Banner Fortress, when you have to apply pressure on a point. So looking at the perks, got Primeval's Torment, so projectiles fired by the weapon blight the target or the nearby area on impact. Then you got Break the Bank, so blighted targets take damage over time and blight the nearby area on death. Well, to get Witherhoard, you can buy this one from the tower from the exotic kiosk, and that is next to your vault, and it's called the Monument to Lost Lights. You will need materials, but you should be able to get an exotic cipher from Xur, and also Ascendant shards from Nightfall Strikes. Also, both of these materials are available on the Season Pass, and you can take that into account for future seasons. Well, next up we have a power weapon. This one is a linear fusion rifle, and it is the Taipan 4FR. So this one is an absolute monster for DPS. It's going to be really useful in endgame content in Lightfall. So the Taipan 4FR is a legendary power linear fusion rifle with a precision frame, meaning the weapon fires a long-range precision energy bolt. The weapon's recoil pattern is much more predictably vertical. This one comes with the origin trait Vice Stinger, so that is one of the best origin traits in the game. Damaging an enemy with the weapon has a small chance to reload the magazine and increase movement speed while you are aiming down sights. For PvE on this one, triple tap and firing line would be a good roll. Triple tap is where landed precision hits will return 1 round to the magazine, and firing line is where the weapon deals increased precision damage when you're near 2 or more allies, so this one is going to be really good in raids. Rampage is also a very good perk, where kills with the weapon temporarily grant increased damage, and that stacks up to 3 times. Well, the Taipan 4FR is quite an easy one to get. It's a world drop weapon, meaning you can get it from playlist activities like Vanguard Ops, Crucible, Gambit matches. You can open chests, plus Banshee44 does sell it quite often, so it is worth checking out his inventory, and you can find him in the tower. Now, his inventory refreshes on Tuesdays at reset time. There's also a quest on the Enclave related to weapon crafting, and you can get your own crafted Taipan 4FR from that quest. Next up, we have another one of my personal favourites. This is the Ikelos SMG. This is the Ikelos SMG version 1.0.3. It is a legendary energy submachine gun with an aggressive frame, meaning high damage and high recoil. Has the origin trait Rasputin's Arsenal, so breaking a target's shield reloads the magazine. And for PvE, corkscrew rifling, Seraph rounds, perpetual motion, and Vault Shot would be a good roll. To get the SMG, you're going to need to find Rasputin's nodes, which are found around the solar system. So here's what you need to do. You need to get the Resonance Amp. That is from the introduction quest in Season of the Seraph. You need to collect Seraph key codes from activities like Vanguard Ops, Story Missions, Crucible, Gambit, that kind of thing. Run the Season of the Seraph activity, that is the Heist Battlegrounds. Pick up the Resonant Stems from the chest at the end, then go to your inventory, combine the 4 Resonant Stems with the Resonant Amp to get your location, and then find that location and collect your loot from the Rasputin's nodes. You can find a guide for all the locations on the channel. So this one is another craftable weapon, meaning you need 5 red border versions of the weapon to craft it. It's also worth doing that before the end of Season of the Seraph and before Lightfall comes around, because we don't really know what is happening with these weapons just yet. Once you have it craftable, you can make your own god rolls. So speak to the exoframe in the helm, pick up those red borders, plus do Heist Battlegrounds, find all the nodes, and you should be able to craft it in no time at all. Next up, we have a favourite for Nightfalls and other endgame content. This one is Opulent. It's an exotic linear fusion rifle in the Kinetic slot. So as I mentioned, this is one of the best weapons for dealing with champions in Nightfalls and other endgame content, so it's a really, really valuable weapon. Opulent is an exotic kinetic linear fusion rifle, and checking out the perks, we've got Compounding Force, so fires slugs that cause massive damage to elemental shields and enemy combatants, and Disruption Break, so break an enemy's shield with the weapon makes them more vulnerable to kinetic damage for a brief period, meaning you can fire, break a shield, and then just fire again, and that damage is just going to increase. So to get Opulent, you can get it from random exotic engrams out there in the wild. That includes Nightfalls, especially the higher tier Nightfalls, so Legend, Master, Grandmaster. Also, you can buy this one from Zur when he's selling it, and Zur does have exotic weapon protection. So if you buy that exotic engram and you don't have this weapon, the game is going to prioritize you getting weapons that you don't have. That is always worth bearing in mind. You know, Zur might be selling Arbalest, and then it's going to be really easy, just pick it up from Zur. But remember, you can also buy that exotic engram. Well, next up, we got another power weapon. This one is a new one as well. It's Retrofit Escapade. It's a rapid-fire, lightweight machine gun. It's absolutely fantastic for mowing down smaller enemies. But normally against bosses and, these types of enemies, this type of weapon can struggle. However, Retrofit Escapade changes that with the inclusion of a particular perk called Target Lock, which has been making headlines in Season of the Seraph, so I definitely recommend securing Target Lock on that weapon if you can. So to get Retrofit Escapade, you have to take part in the seasonal activity. That is Heist Battlegrounds, so you can complete Heist Battlegrounds. You can open up that chest at the end. The one on the right-hand side will give you that seasonal loot, and you will need 500 Seraph key codes to open up that chest. And as I mentioned before, you can get that currency from strikes, story missions, Crucible, and also Gambit 2. The weapon is also craftable, and you'll need 5 red border versions of the weapon to get Retrofit Escapade and to finish up that pattern. And once you have that pattern, you'll be able to craft your very own version of this amazing machine gun at the Enclave on Mars. Okay, next up, this one is going to be an absolute champion killer next season. This one is a fusion rifle in the Kinetic slot. It's a Stasis weapon. This one is Riptide. So Riptide is a legendary fusion rifle dealing stasis damage, and it's a rapid-fire frame, meaning it's got deeper ammo reserve, and it's a slightly faster reload when the magazine is empty. So we've seen loads of really, really good weapons released in the Witch Queen expansion, but Riptide is probably up there with the best of them. I think since I've got my chill clip Riptide, I almost hardly ever take it off, to be honest. It's really, really good. Now, if you love fusion rifles, this is definitely one to seek out. Especially good if you like stasis builds, as this one is a Kinetic stasis fusion rifle. So if you like any stasis build on your Guardian, this one is going to go really, really well with it. For PvE, Arrowhead Break, Accelerated Cause, Auto-Loading Holster, and Chill Clip would be a decent roll. Chill Clip, you get direct hits with the top half of the magazine, causes a detonation that slows nearby targets. Absolute godsend in PvE content. Well, to get Riptide, you have to go into the Crucible, and it is a random reward from Crucible matches, and it could drop at the end of those matches for you. You can also focus engrams at Lord Shaxx, so that is probably the best way to get a guaranteed drop. However, do be aware that focusing engrams at Lord Shaxx does cost quite a lot of legendary shards. Next up, we got another new one. This one is Revision 0. It's an exotic kinetic pulse rifle. It's a great exotic pulse rifle, works in all game modes and situations, given the flexibility with the catalyst. So it's a kinetic pulse rifle with a 2-round burst, and also a 4-round burst as well. Plus it's got an alternate firing mode that makes it work like a sniper. So you've got the exotic perk, that is called Hunter's Trace. So the weapon fires shield-piercing ammunition, precision hits grant targeting data, and then you swap to that alternate scope, loading a high damage round based on the amount of targeting data. And also you get intrinsic anti-barrier on this pulse rifle, so it's really, really good. Weapon's got 2 origin traits. It's got Hake Light Burst Fire, so fires a stable burst of 4 lightweight rounds, and Hake Heavy Burst Fire fires a less stable burst of 2 high damage rounds, and also high range as well. Plus we got 4 catalysts, so pressurized refit Improved stability and accuracy as the magazine gets lower. 4 timer refit, basically 4 times the charm. So rapidly landing precision hits will return 2 rounds to the magazine. You got Frenzy refit, so each rapid kill with the weapon progressively increases the reload speed for a short time. And Outlaw refit, so with that one, precision kills greatly decrease the reload time. So Outlaw refit and 4 timer refit, both really good catalysts. So I would definitely recommend getting hold of those catalysts. Now, hands down, this is one of the best weapons in the game right now, and hats off to Merc and the weapons team for building a great gun. Well, next up, we've got a classic. This one is a hand cannon. This one is Ostringer. So if you are looking for a decent hand cannon for PvP, Ostringer is a really good bet, given you can craft it as well. So Ice Luna and Rose are also decent alternatives, but personally, I really like Ostringer. It's a great feeling weapon. It's a legendary kinetic hand cannon with an adaptive frame, meaning it's got wear and a grip, it's reliable and it's sturdy, and it sits in that 140 family of hand cannons. So it's really good for PvE and also PvP content. Well, to get Ostringer, you want to open up those Opulent chests again on the Derelict Leviathan. You know, these Opulent chests, they're located around the Leviathan, so you can't open them up without an Opulent key, and you can get that Opulent key from opening chests on the Leviathan itself, and also from the end of the Nightmare Containment activity. Once again, it's a craftable weapon, so make sure to get those red borders before Lightfall. You know, go to the Crown of Sorrow, pick them up at the helm, you can probably get 1 each week, and also open up those chests on the Leviathan, and hopefully you'll get a red bordered weapon. Now this one is a really valuable one to craft, so definitely go out there and get those red borders. Well, next up we've got another power weapon. This one is another new one. It's Fire and Forget. It's a linear fusion rifle, so this one is a fairly unique weapon. It's a 3-round burst linear fusion rifle, good in PvP and PvE. Now, Fire and Forget is a legendary power linear fusion rifle with an aggressive frame, meaning it fires a 3-round burst. So it's only the second aggressive frame linear fusion rifle we've got since Storm Chaser in the Duality Dungeon back in Season of the Haunted. I reckon this one is much easier to get. Fire and Forget has become a go-to weapon for Guardians who like to build with stasis weapons. You know, given the relative uniqueness of the gun, plus it also has stasis damage output. For PvE, Arrowhead Break, Accelerated Calls, Field Prep and Chill Clip would be good. Also Focus Fury, also very good as well. Well, to get Fire and Forget, you need to complete the seasonal activity, Heist Battlegrounds. That can be found and launched from the helm. You have a chance to get the Fire and Forget to drop for you at the end of the activity from the chest. Also in the helm, you can speak to the seasonal vendor, the Exo Frame, be able to purchase a version of Fire and Forget. So get those 5 red border versions of Fire and Forget. Be able to craft the weapon at the Enclave on Seventh Throne World. You can access that via the Director. Finally, we've got hands down one of my favourite weapons in the game. This one is Trinity Ghoul. It's an arc exotic bow in the energy slot. And looking at the perks here, we've got Split Electron, so fires an arrow that splits when released, aiming down the sights and fully drawing the bow, both decrease spread. Then you've got Lightning Rod, so precision kills grant the next shot chain lightning capabilities. Also worth noting, you should definitely get hold of the Catalyst with Trinity Ghoul. It makes the weapon about 10 times better. So it's one of the most popular weapons in PvE content at the moment, and bows are pretty good this season. I'm sure they're going to be really good going into Lightfall as well. Well, that is it for my list of top weapons, but other notable weapons include Drang. So this one is a great sidearm to take into PvP. You can get that on the Derelict Leviathan like Ostringer. Disparity is a great pulse rifle that's decent in PvP and PvE, although I didn't include it in the main list because I included Revision 0, which is probably an overall better pulse rifle. Wilder Flight is also a great energy grenade launcher and unique, given it fires 2 void rounds, and really good for void builds. Plus we've got Exalted Truth, another energy void weapon, although this one is a hand cannon. You can get that one from Trials of Osiris. Well, that is all for now, and let me know in the comments what weapons you're going to take into Lightfall, and let me know the weapons I've missed. Well, that is it for this guide for the best weapons to get before Lightfall in Destiny 2. And as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you can check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you soon.